Trump addressed Musk's growing political influence, despite the world's richest man, of course, not being elected to any position in the federal government. Several critics have publicly called out Musk for having more influence than Trump over the current Republican Party. But the president-elect was apparently having none of it, making some key remarks about Musk during a speech yesterday that he gave at a gathering of young conservative activists in Phoenix.
You know, they're on a new kick. Russia, 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 Ukraine, 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 all the different hoaxes. And the new one is President Trump has ceded the presidency to Elon Musk. No, that's not happening. But Elon's done an amazing job. But no, he's not going to be president, that I can tell you. And I'm safe. You know why? He can't be. He wasn't born in this country.
Caddy K, a lot to unpack here. First of all, we know Donald Trump hates it when anyone challenges him for the spotlight. The fact that he had to address it over the weekend shows that it's clearly getting under his skin. The fact that he had to point to the Constitution as an example of, hey, no, Elon Musk actually can't be president. He wasn't born here, shows you how much this is getting under his skin. So weigh in on that. And also, of course, as our resident European correspondent, you're far more familiar with the concept of prime minister, which is what that Republican congressman said at the top of the show, than we are, suggesting, unironically, that Musk is going to play a role like that.
Yes, so generally speaking, the prime minister is the head of the party. I mean, that is how you get to be prime minister. Your party is elected, but you are the head of the party, so you have an enormous amount of power. I don't know that he was, totally aware of what he was saying in that suggestion. Maybe he thought the prime minister would be subservient in this role. But anyway, it's an elected official. That is how you get to be prime minister. We've been waiting for a while to see when the Elon-Trump relationship might run into difficulties. Clearly, all that talk that there was around in Washington and all the, my kids sent me these funny cartoons of Elon and Vance in the front seat of the car and Trump in the back, and them saying, so cute that he thinks he's doing the steering, which was the implication was that he wasn't. So all of that seems to be getting back to Donald Trump, Sam Stein. But I mean, there's still, Trump still seems to need or want Elon around. I don't know how long that lasts, but at the moment that still seems to be the case. He seems to appreciate the amount of money that Elon poured into states like Pennsylvania to get him reelected. And I don't see Elon disappearing from the scene as quickly as some other people have suggested.
No, I don't either. It's unclear how much Trump needs and wants. I mean, I'm sure he's appreciative of the money, which was a lot. The money was very helpful. And I think the idea that you have this person here who has the biggest megaphone in politics and also the biggest banking account literally in the world, threatening Republicans to get in line behind your agenda, that doesn't hurt Trump, right? He kind of enjoys the idea that there's this anvil waiting to be dropped on the party. And that, frankly, was what happened in the CR debate, which was, it wasn't just that Elon was spouting off on various provisions in the bill, which he clearly didn't understand because he got factually wrong. He didn't quite understand how the congressional process worked. That wasn't what was important. It was when Elon said, anyone who votes for this is going to get a primary challenge and I'll fund it. That's what mattered. And so I think Trump likes having that tool. The problem is, of course, is that if Elon starts stealing his thunder, the spotlight, and it becomes apparent that Elon is actually more powerful than Trump, that will not go over very well for the president-elect soon to be president. I think that's when you start seeing friction between the two.
Yeah, when the Time magazine cover drops, suggesting that Elon Musk is actually running the show, that may be
a quick point on that. When they were doing the Person of the Year, Time magazine, Elon put out a couple of tweets, which was, it gave the impression that he knew he might be treading on thin water, where he was like, I don't want the cover. I don't want the cover. That should be for Trump. He understood that if that happened, that would have been quite bad for his fate.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not a great place to be.
Doge would have been done before it began had that occurred. Well,